Hello and welcome to part two of 20 mindset and branding habits you want to kill in 2020. So, I am Victoria Baylor, and it is a pleasure having you connect today. I'm a little bit incognito, but I'm still here. And I'm excited about this second installment. If you caught the first session, then of course, you know we went through the first five of the 20 in our lineup. I had a good time unpacking those. And today I'm going to take a little bit more mellow of approach. I'm going to kind of just talk to you a little bit, and we're going to talk through these next five and really pinpoint again why these particular items made the list and why you want to get rid of these habits. Because you don't want to be in a situation where, as I mentioned yesterday, you have these amazing goals. There are things you want to achieve professionally. You want to launch yourself like nothing else, which is always the goal at the start of the year. But it's almost like running a race. You don't want to get out the block and all of a sudden there's a hurdle. And for many of you, that's what you experience is nonstop hurdles. And if you can't get over that first hurdle, how are you going to continue running and then possibly have to get over another one? So my job is to teach you how to leap over these issues, and better yet, how to remove them out of your path altogether so that they're no longer an issue. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see my presentation, and we'll get started. And just as a short intro, if you have not seen the first video, I am Victoria Baylor. I'm a mindset or an intuitive mindset and brand confidence coach. I work with professional women to help them remove mental blocks, tap into their brand potential, and exploit their brand brilliance for all that it is, so they can increase and position themselves in business and gain maximum opportunities, maximum clients, or increase clients, and monetize their brilliance. So I believe every woman is amazingly brilliant in her own way. The question is how is she going to leverage that and grow her personal brand in such a way that it positions her in the mind of others? Remember, the goal is to make sure that you are top of mind to everybody. That when they think of you, they think of the market, they think of your position, they think of your business, they think of your service, whatever it is, you become the first thought that pops up in their mind. And that is the power of branding yourself well, and that is the power of your personal brand. And again, today we are addressing those mindset and brand habits that actually kill the impactiveness of your personal brand. So we're going to go through and talk about those now. Okay, ignore my crazy desktop. You got to see that for a split second. It's craziness. I am the person that has about 200 tabs open on the internet browsers as well. So anyway, a little bit about me. Okay, so we are on number 6 for today. And we are coming out the gates, guns blazing. So mindset habit number 6 that you want to ditch for sure is the thought that you always have to give a discount. And I'm starting with this one because I find that this becomes not even just something that's a physical issue. It even translates into, I think, as women, how we see ourselves. We tend to discount ourselves. We tend to give ourselves, but not so much to the things that are really deserving of us. And we kind of diminish our own quality sometimes if we're thinking about discounting from that angle. But so discounting, not a problem actually. It's actually a great idea. Tons of companies use it, big name companies. It's a great strategy. But the issue here, and the word that's a red flag, is always. So if you're launching a business, a service, you're offering something you want people to get obviously interested in, great way to serve as bait, of course, to offer a discount. But if this is your mindset and your practice nonstop, I would just question that a little bit. Remember, always being the operative word. So why do you feel like you cannot charge full price for what it is that you offer? So again, this is a mindset issue. So with that being said, I'm going to ask some questions that really kind of poke around a little bit at your mindset, and we'll see how you answer these. So my questions I have for you is that, why do you always, again, feel obligated that you have to give a discount? Is that related to fear? Is it related to doubt? You know, you're not sure if people are going to actually use it, or they're going to pick you if you don't make it the deal tantalizing and tempting for them. What is it that's driving that? You know, if it's different, if you have full confidence in what you have to offer and that you know how to just get people excited about something and how to grab their attention. But if you're coming from a place of lack, and then you're putting more lack on yourself by discounting your service or product, what do you think, how do you think internally you're feeling about yourself? Is your self-esteem taking a hit? Your confidence taking a hit? And oftentimes when we ask that question, will someone pay full price for me or what I have to offer? Am I worth that? So it's definitely something you have to explore if you were coming from this angle, because that might be an area for you that needs to be fortified. And I know that specifically when I'm working with my clients, it's like the first thing we oftentimes have to do, because there is this doubt that and this unsureness that I have enough to be able to charge and get the value that I want. And that's why my first line of defense is to show you your value, because when you realize your value, then you don't have a problem taking that step up and you can own your value. The second question I have for you is, do other people do the same thing? Who else out there is nonstop just giving their stuff away, constantly discounting themselves? There's one thing, again, I love the adage is to under promise, over deliver. I think that's more of a character trait, to come in and to incentivize. That's a different thing. But we're talking about your baseline. What do you deserve as far as pricing? And you're always dipping below your baseline, that's a problem. And number three, I'd like you to consider, kind of as a solution actually, consider setting your prices in such a way that the discount is still going to be beneficial for you. So have you considered doing something like that? So say, for instance, if you offer something, let's see, if you offer a service and maybe your service is $1,500. Well, consider that when you actually promote your service, promoting it at a slightly higher rate, because remember, we're talking about value here, not so much money, we're talking about value. How much value can someone get? And if you promote it, say for instance, at like, 1,800 or something like that. I don't know what service you have, maybe some kind of neat package, a vacation pack, something. And then if you decide that, hey, I want to give them a discount, you have a baseline in place. You know that 1,500 is just the minimum you'll take, but you'll still be compensated. So you see how that puts you in charge, that puts you in control, and that gives you some leeway to work through pricing. Definitely something to keep in mind. So as an action plan for you, I recommend definitely, for one, evaluate your pricing system. And I know for some of you that if you sell like a product, that of course there's ways you can't really go outside the pricing. It's unrealistic. You can't sell a teddy bear for $3,000. But I'm actually going to take that back, because can't's not a can't's a limitation. Technically, have you gone to like the what is it? It's not Neiman. It might be Neiman Marcus. I've seen their online website. I think I saw some like plastic jean shorts for like some $600. So let's check the mindset issue there. No, you can actually sell anything you want if you can prove the value and have the right buyer. I've seen artwork that looks like it came out of an elementary school, and not to judge artwork harshly, but I'm making a point is that sometimes we tend to think I can't do something, but what's the value behind it? Okay, but anyway, so I digress. But my point in saying that is evaluate your pricing system. So you want to make sure it's something that's comfortable for you. Does it reflect your value, and does it reflect what you have to offer? Whether it's a service product, whether a service or product, is it competitive? Does it give you, does it meet the criteria, again, that reflects your value? That's definitely important to think about. And then as a side note, if you can't really grow or add to, let's say if you are selling that teddy bear and you're selling a certain type of specialty teddy bear and it is maybe $40, and stacking on the price is just going to be unrealistic. Well, then I want you to consider actually expanding yourself in such a way where you can offer other things, again, that will showcase your value. This is why it's so important to know yourself and to understand the value you actually bring to the table, because you might actually have comparable goods or services to go along with that. So with the teddy bear, then there's offering the clothing or offering other things or offering kind of like a virtual playroom for kids where they can kind of showcase their teddy bear or and that's an added service. And it's because you like putting groups together and you're very good at, that kind of uh, fun special occasion event planning. And it could be in person. So you see how you can just kind of leverage more of you and showcase more of your value. So in return, you gain the financial compensation you're desiring. So I hope that makes sense. So remember, we don't want to come from a place of always giving discount. We want to come from a place of providing the value you provide and then making sure you're properly compensated with it on a regular basis and being in control of that. That's the biggest thing. Discounts are great, but you don't want this to be the norm all the time where it's financially hurting you and you feel like it's a requirement. Okay, so moving on. Number 7, your story won't benefit your personal brand. This is actually a big one. Believe it or not, I always hate that oftentimes as people, professionals, we tend to focus on our service or our product more. We pump all our energy into that. And then that leaves a deficit and void between connecting us to it. And the greatest part about your business or your career, and I don't forget about career people, forgive me, it's not just all entrepreneurs here. The greatest thing about your business, your career role, is actually you. So your story is a huge part of you. How do you lead to a large degree with that? Or how do you promote part of that so you can make connections with people that will get them to want to connect back with you? Because remember, personal branding and developing your brand brilliance is all about creating the impressions, the reputation, the image that attracts people to you. And story is a huge part of that. Recent research shows that as much as, if I'm quoting it right, 22% of people will just remember your story and they'll want to connect with you because of that. And that's a good percentage of people just from hearing a story. So my question for you, if your goal is to be memorable, you definitely want to tap into and be aware of your own brand story and how it ties into your brand identity and how it ties into your brand message. And remember, all of this falls under brand brilliance. This is why I have a signature program called Brand Brilliance to Shine, as you know, Shine being an acronym, but really tapping into all the resources, your brand collateral, and pulling those things to the surface so people will see them, understand them, and they'll immediately understand you, what you're about, and the value you bring and hold, and they're going to want to connect. And again, whether that's you have a career and you're in a certain type of business and you want to get more clients, or you're an entrepreneur and you also want to get more clients, or you want to, monetize a little bit better, definitely something to keep in mind. So your story, my questions for you here is, how can you, of course, use your story to your advantage? And how can it be an advantage for you? Well, for one, it allows you to connect emotionally with people. People remember stories. They understand that if you have a passion for doing something. I heard the other day, someone I was speaking with is a home healthcare provider, and just her telling a story about how she loves to help people, how she loves to work with them and work with the elderly. I mean, that pulled enough on my heartstrings that it just showed me the passion she had in her business. And that was it made her top of mind, because seeing that kind of passion definitely makes you remember people. And at the same time, in remembering them, you're often able, if you can't use their services, to refer other people to them. Secondly, it helps give clarity. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why? So many people take action they're doing, but then there's no frame of reference. And when people have a frame of reference for you and there's a bridge, it makes them oftentimes even more respect what you're doing. If there was a struggle that you had, and then now you're doing something to help people through that struggle, that's important. So it's so important to tell that your story. And that's why I tell people quite honestly, I started doing what I was doing because I left my career, my confidence fell through the floor, and I lost myself. And then I started in the journey and found the formula to rediscovering yourself and really digging deep into your identity and finding your true value, potential, and purpose. So that's what my story to share with other people. And you have a story. The question is, do you know what that is, and are you tapping into it? And then it allows you to show your power and your expertise, which is really, really awesome. So when people see that there's a connection in your story and then it's steeped in something deeper, you really stand out as someone that not only, talk the talk, but you walk the walk. So they understand you a lot better. Think about even like products that get launched into like Whole Foods, for instance. Someone uses their grandmother's lemonade recipe. I mean, it pulls on our heartstrings and it pulls on us because people look for connectivity. So the question is, are you going to give them that and really leverage that in your business? So your action plans for this one is I want you to start thinking about and be willing to share, kind of formulate. And if you need help formulating this, I can help you. But what got you started in the work that you're doing? First of all, for you, I hope you're doing work that you're very passionate about, because that's really important. Because if you don't have a frame of reference for what got you started, then it's a little bit harder sometimes to build that story. Not saying that everybody in life has to do everything that they're, super, super passionate about. Oftentimes we have work, and we have work that can fund our side ventures or our side passions. But even that's a bridge. Hey, I like doing this. I work in insurance because I don't like see people, I've witnessed where people didn't have this. And I believe that, to have things in place with your insurance allows you to live life. And I like to live life. And this is what I do on the side. I'm a world traveler. I'm this and that. So you still can bridge and weave your story. So again, it's a little bit tricky sometimes because we're in our stories and we don't oftentimes see the uniqueness of them. But that's why I am a coach and I'm really good at that. So come talk to me if you need help. And then of course, what is your passion and your drive? Kind of goes back to what I said before. And then who would be the ideal person to share this with? Someone that could benefit from hearing your story and definitely can benefit from the value that you offer. So definitely your story is a huge part of your personal brand. And from this day forward, I encourage you not to ignore that fact. Number 8, working solo is the only way to protect my work. This one really, really saddens me, believe it or not. It does, because it says a lot of things. And it also spells, it spells impending doom, and it spells oncoming disaster. Because the truth is, none of us are made to work solo, completely alone, and achieve greatness. There's no major corporation on this planet that's been able to do that with just one person. Over the Christmas break, I had the pleasure of watching some neat documentary on History Channel, which I just stumbled on it. I was out of town vacationing, and it was very interesting. I was talking about, Andrew Carnegie and some of the greats, Rockefeller, and how they built their empires. And it was very enlightening. But even with them and all their greatness, they didn't build it solo. So remember, solo work leads to burnout. That's it, just plain and simple. And I know people want to protect what's theirs. There are ways to protect your stuff. You can create an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. You can trademark, you can copyright, you can protect your stuff. But to only put yourself in a bubble is actually going to limit your brilliance, even your brand brilliance, because that's impacted by your interacting with people. So what I want to encourage you to do is to join forces. And oftentimes it's great to join forces with someone you're not technically in direct competition with, even though you can be, and it still works. You can have two people doing something and they just do it slightly different. So it's all about your mindset. There's enough pieces of the pie out there for all of us. Trust me. I know that personally. Because you can't have, I have a wonderful mentor who's branding, and we work side by side, and then she offers great advice, and then I'm able to help her. So there's ways that you can even be in the same arena and help. So just, I want to get you to switch your mindset against thinking I have to protect, you know, huddle, 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 hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. You want to definitely break that and think more from a collaborative standpoint, because collaboration helps to spread the weight. That's what it does. So you're not carrying everything by yourself. And when you're not overwhelmed, ladies, please let me speak to your mindset here. This is why I tell women taking a break are a necessity. Can't talk this morning. They are necessary, and they are the necessity because they allow you to decompress. When you don't have emotional weight, you are able to free flow with ideas and strategies and all that. Completely explains why when you go on vacation, you end up with a plethora of ideas. Explains why when you take a shower, you can oftentimes come up with great creative ideas. So to live in a way in your career or your business where you're collaborating, it doesn't have to be all the time, but when you do have collaborative efforts, it allows the weight of certain things you're trying to accomplish to be spread, and you can be more effective. So again, it allows you to do three things: share ideas. So you're able to share information amongst people, great idea sessions, and do what you're planning to do in a better and a more effective way. The smartest people, I forgot who it was, they have, okay, funny, I was watching the show Billions, and I always, the head guy there, I forgot his name, but he always had those strategy sessions where he had all these stock traders in one room, and they were always like spouting off ideas. Because the smartest people don't know that they can't be the smartest person in the room. If I walk into a room and I'm the smartest person on a continual basis, there's a problem. You want to be connecting yourself to people because everybody has unique gifts, they have unique insights. Some of my clients, when I do personality assessments on them, they're just nothing but a bag full of ideas. That's how they're wired. So if there's a problem, they're innovators. They always come up with ideas. You want someone like that to collaborate with you because you bring your own strengths to the table, and magic can be made when people work together in tandem. Now, mind you, again, if you have a type of business and you're doing something that a lot of it probably is going to be your stuff, you're not obligated to share everything. That's not what I'm saying. But think about ways to collaborate that will help you get to your goals. Maybe you want to be seen more. Maybe you want to grab more clients. That's where joint venture situations work very well. That's where, sharing audiences work well. And that's one thing you can do with people. If you join forces with someone, you can have the opportunity of sharing their audience, pumping some of the stuff you have to offer into their audience and picking up new clients as well, or being able to offer your services as well. And number three is share responsibilities. So everything's not on your shoulders. So I think this goes back to something I said in the first session of always thinking you have to do everything yourself. That's dangerous. Don't get caught in that mindset. So my question for you, your action plan is, who can you collaborate with? Think about in your brand ecosystem, your brand sphere, who is someone that you can collaborate with? You both have the same goals, you kind of go in the same direction, you complement each other. So again, you don't have to offer the exact same service, so there's not direct competition, but you complement each other well. Who can you partner with? And you'll see a lot of that like with State Farm agents. I love it when I'll be driving down, I'll see two agents share the same billboard. So that happens sometimes. And they're actually the same, they're both agents. So the whole doing the same thing and collaborating can work as well. So, and again, you don't have to fear, am I going to get my clients? If you are branding your brilliance, if your brand brilliance is definitely at work for you, your personality stands out, your strengths, your abilities, everything that's uniquely you will attract the people that need you to you. So this is where, again, this idea of crabs in a bucket doesn't even work when you brand correctly. Okay, One of my favorites, because I am an introvert myself and I can speak directly to this, and I can speak a little bit more, a little, how shall I say, direct about this. Okay, introversion is not an excuse for not being able to network. And I understand our struggles. So if you're an extrovert now, you can tune out. I do want to dispel the misbelief. Introverts are not shy in any regard at all. My God, we are some deep people. We can talk. The point is, when you're talking about the difference between introversion and extroversion, it is how one gets their energy. So the question is for you is, you're an introvert if you're someone that if you're around people for a very long time, your energy gets drained. It's that plain and simple. There's no mystery to introversion. Extroversion is if you're by yourself too long, that your energy is drained. You have to be around people to charge your battery. Introverts have to be by themselves to charge your battery. So what can get exhausting for introverts is being around people and having their battery, their energy being worn down. So how does one navigate that? Because networking requires you to be around people, and it can oftentimes be draining. So with that being said, again, it's about, this is why I love to do energy profiles with my clients, because it allows them to help them understand themselves. Your energy is your ability to do work. And aside from time, it is a huge factor, because you can have all the time in the world, and if you have no energy, you're not gonna get anything done. You want to maximize both. So for introverts, I have a few suggestions. It's funny, I don't even have notes on this. I can just come off the top of my head because I understand us so well. First of all, you want to make sure you can be at the highest charge of your battery before you do networking events. So if you have to step away, kind of be alone before you go out and do that networking event, definitely do that. If you're in a situation, which is oftentimes the case, where you're back to back to back to back in meetings. I remember one day this week, I was literally on the phone from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. at night with like intermittent breaks between. I had meeting after meeting, meeting. I was even surprised I was able to pull that one off. But it's about knowing how to do a quick recharge, is what I call it. And if you don't know how to do that, we definitely need to do a strategy call. So let's talk your energy. Because we don't want introversion to prevent you from making the greatest connections in your life. I have made some amazing connections, and my clients have even greater made some amazing connections and stepped out of their shells and went on to pursue whether it's different positions, different opportunities, because we worked on getting their energy right. So we don't want you to miss out on that because you don't know how to navigate yourself. But we also want you to be true to who you are. I don't want you running around being exhausted all the time. So that's also important. So it's all about, again, knowing what you need. That's really what it's about. And then knowing what your end goal is in networking. Again, first thing is making sure you have a charged battery before you go out. Second thing is give yourself a realistic goal. You don't have to work the entire room. But if you have a way of either kind of thinking about in advance who's going to be there, if you have knowledge of it, makes, a strategic effort to talk to certain people and, connect with them. And then, at least have like 3 people. Don't feel like you got to work the room and be, the complete, life of the party. So don't feel bad about stepping out from that. And then thirdly is there's an art to small talk. You can learn how to speak and connect with people. If you're a bit awkward, it's okay. Everything is something that you can figure out. I love, I think it's Marie Forleo's book, if I said her name right, Everything is Figure Outable. I've never read the book, but I love the title, and I concur wholeheartedly. So how can you figure this thing out? And if you need those kind of strategies, again, that's what I'm here for. I'm an introvert. I can prove to you, you can definitely get outside of yourself, overcome some of your challenges, and move on to experience great success. If you are strategic in how you not only take care of yourself, but then also make this a priority. Because remember, you can't be great and become great and expand yourself all on your own. You need connections. So your action plan this week is to find an event you've been probably not trying to go to and go to it. And just with these 3 tips, work out your strategy. And actually call me, connect with me. Let's do a session, a free brand brilliance clarity session so we can talk through this problem and look at some other solutions. Okay, and last but not least, let us chat about this. This is a very interesting one. I think it kind of speaks for itself, but this is a mindset and a brand habit that definitely has to go. It says, my only strategy is research and repeating what others are doing. Yikes. Well, you don't even need a personal brand if you're going to do this, because personal branding and tapping and creating your brand brilliance is all about individuality and tapping into the best parts of you and using, again, your brand collateral to grow. And if you're trying to steal and use someone else's brand collateral, that will not work. It's hilarious. We introduced our daughter to Coming to America. For some of those that know that old classic done in the 80s, but Eddie Murphy, it's hilarious. But I always laugh every time I see the McDonald's and then the McDowell's comparison. So there's a gentleman there that has a restaurant that's McDowell's, and it's made to mimic completely the mirror image of McDonald's down to like everything, minus the bun that doesn't have the sesame seeds, but everything else looks exactly like golden arches, golden arcs. It's just crazy. And there are some people that still like that and try to replicate. And all I can say is this, that people miss out on the best parts of who you are and your authenticity and the use of your gifts when you're trying to feel like you have to be obligated to do what someone else is doing. Market research is so important, but market research is important so you can see what the competition is doing, so you can know how you can distinguish yourself and stand out from them. That's what's important. So if you're doing the market research and say, okay, I'm going to do this because this person has 60,000 followers, or this person's a realtor and they gain all these people, you're going about it all wrong. So remember, instead of copying, do the market research and then carve out a niche for yourself. This is why your brand brilliance is important. This is why my clients do not struggle when we work together afterwards to create that niche, because they know what makes them different. And then it's all about promoting what makes you different. But there's at least like 20 different, there's a lot of parameters that you can tap into your brand brilliance that showcases your difference. And then the other thing is examine your competitors. Well, going back to what I said, and knowing your uniqueness, that's the brand brilliance part. So you're going to carve out a niche for yourself, but that stems from knowing how you're different and how you're unique, really understanding your own brand brilliance. And when you do that, that kind of creates an equation. It's what I like to say, what makes you different and is in demand will give you your sweet spot. So it's one thing, it's another step up from just knowing what makes you different and unique. You want to make sure people want that. So there's ways to test the market to see if they do want it. And then you just push forward and then just put that out there. And when you're unique, people will go for it. I love the idea of like Cirque du Soleil. And I took French. You think I'd be able to say that a little bit with a little bit more French in enunciation. But they took what was traditionally the circus and found a way to make it very unique. No one's been able to tap that. And that's so cool. Why not make people the circus animals and then make it more adult centered and more kind of sensual and more exciting and more decadent? So if you think about it, that's a lot different from Ringling Brothers. So they took a concept that's kind of out there. People want to come, they want to see animals, they want to see movement, they want to see this, and then they changed it and they merged the world of like acrobatics with animals and neat. Anyway, it's just amazing. You, my friend, are amazing. So how can we bring more of that to the forefront and then take your interests and your abilities and your goals, pump those into your service, your career, how you show up, and make your brand brilliance known to people. So remember, research is great, but repeating is not. So with that being said, I think your action plan for that, forgive me, your action plan is to take inventory of your own uniqueness, investigate, go a little bit deeper into what sets you apart, take the necessary steps. Again, most people do not deep dive. Please jump on a call with me. Let's talk about that. Most people are looking for validation outside of themselves. What makes me different as an intuitive mindset and brand confidence coach, is my job is to teach you how to internally connect with yourself so that you can brand from the inside out and take that value and share it with the world. And that's what's life-changing for people. Because I can tell you this, they've not seen what you really have to work with, because you are your own unique combination of personality, experiences, abilities, qualities, interests, traits, values, da 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 da. There's so many different levels. We pull all that together and put it and create, like I always like to call it, kind of like a gumbo. Remember, all those pieces of the gumbo are great, but when you put them together and you get that sauce, that roux, and you get those flavors and those spices, all of it creates an amazing savory dish, and that's important to know. And it's an important process to go through. And then last step is test the market again for your response. So your action plan is to think about what you're doing now, and I want you to evaluate how can you do it a little bit more that's like you versus trying to be status quo and trying to be standard. And if you need help brainstorming that, that's what I'm here for. I appreciate your time. I think that's it for our presentation. We talked through 1 through 10, or we did 1 through 10 overall, but today we covered 6 through 10. And this is part 2 of 20 mindset and brand habits to kill. You want to kill and bury in 2020. So I hope this has been very enlightening and helpful. Please stay tuned for the other 2 installments. In the meantime, if you want to chat, let us talk. My recommendation for you is you feel stuck, or if any of the things I talked about kind of hit a nerve, kind of provoked you to think, or made you realize that you're not exactly where you want to be, let us jump on a call together. Again, I will post a link to my calendar, and let's schedule a call and let's talk. Let's talk your brand brilliance, because it's 2020 and I definitely want you to do something different. It's like that, I think it was Einstein that said insanity is, the definition of it is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So for you, I want you to take out of that run analogy. I want you to just like shoot out of those blocks and take off with great momentum this year, because the end of your year has the ability to look so much different from where you start now. You don't know where you could end up. And I definitely, I want greatness for everyone out there, every lady out there, and men, because I work with men as well. But I want greatness for y'all. So with that being said, don't hesitate. I'm a resource. I'm a support. I have expertise, a lot of different areas that I know will suit you and help you get the clarity you need. So that being said, thanks for tuning in, and we'll connect for the next installment.